The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the GallowgateShots YouTube channel. It is myself, your host, Chris, joined by Bestie, Mark, and Decker. Those two over that side of the table have decided to smash the place up the last couple of minutes.
I got the,
we're sitting here all peaceful and serene.
Marks there, didn't I? I got the marks. Sorry.
Got the marks.
For somebody to describe you, Bestie, as peaceful.
It's like a China in a bull shop.
But no one's coming from that side of the room, as always. But Decker's joined in tonight.
China and a bull.
How are you doing? I haven't knocked anything over for ages.
You haven't
knocked
knocked
his
his phone
phone
over
over?
5 minutes
I
ago?
I didn't mean like in this moment. I
Because
meant
we've moved
in
stuff away
general.
from you.
That is literally one of the reasons we just done the studio out, just to take photo frames away from Mark.
Because we don't have exactly. It's not there in me.
It's what I
in
do with
me
my
arm.
2-year-old. I just move stuff away from him so he doesn't knock it over.
Ah, yeah. I guarantee people that watch this every single week, they'll be able to pinpoint where you either hit something over or almost hit something over, where you catch it mid-fall, because that's been your new thing.
I'm very
that you've been doing.
expressive with me
Like
hands.
the Gateshead Mussolini.
I'd put the lid back on that water, I have to say, because that's gone.
But yes, we are here to talk all things Newcastle United. And what a better place to start than the weekend. I'll be honest, Brett, I'm going to ask you as a question, and I want people at home that are listening as well to answer this one. After a game, do you have a massive release of energy and emotion? Because I feel as I just have a pure energy dump after that game.
I wanted to miss them all, I think.
It's
No,
almost-
you still seem to have plenty of energy when we were dancing around in the Geordie Star.
That's later on. That's later on. But straight after the game, when I'm in that pub for the first pint, I just feel as if all the energy just disappear from my body, because that was an emotional and a frantic game to watch.
I enjoyed it, you know.
Did you?
Yeah.
And the Keegan vibes, eh?
It was and I know probably more so from a like a neutral point of view. It would have been a fantastic game to watch, like a proper end-to-end game of football, and even being part of it, it was an enjoyable game to spectate.
I think I would have the old energy dump thing. I would probably have that a bit more. I don't often have it. If the equaliser had been on 88 minutes or whatever, but given that it was like 15, 20 minutes left at 4-4, that was I thought, well, surely we're gonna. And then I've seen that many games ebb away like that, where it's just kind of momentum goes. It becomes like, oh well, it's just.
I tend to get it every game, no matter what the result. I got it massively after the win against PSG. After the game, I just felt not flat, but it's really hard to describe how I felt.
No, it's an adrenaline dump, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, you sometimes...
You need to lie down.
Yeah, sometimes I've heard people say when they've been to a gig, and they've really, really been into a gig, and then they come out and they sit down, they're like, fuck, I'm knackered. And I used to get that quite a lot when I've been to a game, especially if it's like a really intense game like that one was. You know what I mean? That game on Saturday was insane.
I kind of get the opposite. If I've been to a gig, I'll come back. So I'll drive as often as not now at the gigs. I'll get back and have a little cup of decaf tea in the house and just kind of settle myself down a bit. I'm the opposite. Like I'll be too excited off the gig or
Settle
whatever.
myself
I
down.
was going to sit and I'll have to watch
Do you know sometimes when you get back from, say if you've been to a nighttime game, and you get back and it's, normally you'd probably go to bed sometimes.
11, half 11 something.
Yeah, sometimes just wired, just lying there either thinking about the game or.
Oh yeah, that's why I like to say. But
That's what I like. I'm like that. I'm just wired about the game. Yeah. But I'm not one of these type of gigs. I just mean some of the people I know say that to me.
I do it on a Monday night when I finish here. I'll go home and I'm like,
I take 2 paracetamol, all sorts. Sorry, Mark. The game itself was
What a start! 7 minutes.
absolutely mental. I was. Well, the team sheet I think was exactly what we expected. However, the bench was a couple of additions on the bench that I was really pleased with. Barnes and Wilson. Didn't expect to see.
That was a surprise.
I didn't expect to see Wilson. I had read a few bits and listened to a few other stuff that Barnes was looking that he would be on the bench. But Wilson was a surprise for me. I didn't expect to see him.
I didn't. I wonder if that was hastened a little bit by Isaac being knackered again.
Yeah.
If they've had to kind of, Callum will have you back a few weeks early, mate, if we can.
Yeah, I would hope not, because we've had form of Russian. I've sat here for a long time now, and again put the banner on. I'm not saying I want him sacked or anything, but that house obviously has brought players back maybe too early with it, one of them Murphy's shoulder, etc., etc. But then again, I suppose I think Tyndall mentioned it every time he got asked in his press conference. Sounds mad saying that, doesn't it? When Tyndall was there for the press conference, we'll speak to the medical team, and if the medical team give him the go ahead, then he'll be either part of the team or whatever it might be. But no, it was great to have them both back on there. You know, obviously we'll get onto it. Barnes' impact was tremendous, to be fair. So the team itself will pick itself, and I just feel probably we'll come on to it. There's one position I think we'll definitely talk about, but I do feel sorry for the three in midfield, because I just think it's becoming difficult for them in periods of the game, I think, to manage it. It's just because of who they are, and they just need help.
I think there'll probably be questions about that midfield three coming in later on. So if anybody does have any questions, send them our way. We'll save them and we'll go through them at the end. Mark, like I said, there was a great start though. 7 minutes in, Longstaff grabs another one.
Yeah, I think he could have even had one before that, if I remember rightly. And he was popping up in that little inside right position.
It's the Longstaff zone, isn't it?
Yeah. It worked really well. And, you know, again, he popped up there another few times as the game progressed through. But it was a lovely move, wasn't it? What a ball.
By Miley.
Yeah, but the ball from Miley to switch it over to Trippier, and then the cross from Trippier. I've got to say, though, he's 100% not passing that ball to Longstaff. That cross is definitely going to Bruno, without a doubt.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Bruno's standing there completely unmarked, and fair play to Longstaff. He busts a gut, and he does well because he gets there. He's got two defenders on him, kind of chasing it back, and he just gets there ahead of them, and good finish from him.
I think we're both great finishes.
Yeah,
both of them were really, really good. Yeah. The second one better than I kind of appreciated at the time.
Yeah. Hard for us to appreciate.
He's got to pick his spot, doesn't he?
It was very hard for us to appreciate that from where we're sat in our seats, Bestie, because it's obviously quite a distance away, and the control for that second goal, then the finish as well. But the first one, I think we've got to have to go back, and that ball out from Miley, yes, it puts Trippier down the wing, and Trips is picking up chalk on his boots here, like, because it's right on the byline, isn't it? And the ball in, it's fantastic. But like you said, Longstaff, we've mentioned this a few times, and we've addressed it a couple of times, that he's clearly working on his finishing. He said that to us, and he's been working on those late runs into the box. And Decker, he gets two just doing just that.
Yeah, well, I think you know, we've always said we've called it the Longstaff position of sort of breaking in. There's nothing better than seeing a midfielder try and get it, you know, either accompanying the striker or ahead of the striker. You know, it's great to see, isn't it? And I think arriving late and all the rest of it. And I think I'll just reference the second goal, which I appreciate we've missed their goal out, but I loved how, bearing in mind Gordon's bombing forward, a lot of players might have thought, all the best here, you know, you just going, but Longstaff, when I watch the replay again, he is, you know, his thought is, I'm going to, just in case there is a rebound or Gordon does need to pass to us, and it worked perfectly for him. And the first touch was tremendous to set him up, because it's not easy first touch, not easy. And that the first touch allows him to take to finish it as easy as he did. It was a brilliant finish that. And obviously credit to Gordon as well, of course, on that one. But no, Longstaff, listen, I sat here yesterday and argued with Mark. Last week, apologise. That you could move on from Longstaff and you wouldn't go backwards. And 2 goals against them doesn't mean that I'm wrong, by the way. I'm not saying that, but also it does prove how well Longstaff's doing lately. Certainly in front of goal, he's certainly getting goals. I actually thought now I really do at some point want to talk about the Villa game as well, because I haven't had
6 throughout the season now for Longstaff,
yeah,
isn't it?
Fantastic
from centre midfield. That's not bad at all. Like,
absolutely. And I love it when we're getting goals from all areas, because we appreciate the strikers aren't fit enough.
Yeah, well, I've done like
so it's nice when everybody's chipping in. Do you know what I mean? I want to see Miggy getting some. I want to see what defenders get them from set pieces, and it's class. It's really, really good to see.
And like we saw last week against Villa, obviously you're looking at that, and the goals coming from all over the field.
All over. It's class.
I mean, all season, Sheffield United was 8 different scorers. PSG was 4 different scorers.
Yep.
We've kind of done that all season, which is, I don't know if fortunate's the right word, but given how much we've missed our strikers, we haven't often had 2 fit strikers this season. It's kind of, I don't think fortunate is a word that kind of speaks volumes as to how they are as a team. Like Longstaff's had a couple.
It's that high press, isn't it? And
very fluid. Very, very
fluid.
Fluid. Very, very fluid, and the high presses, as you say, forces them into mistakes. But you know, the Villa game, I remember the amount of times I kept saying the same thing over and over. I was sick of us, but I kept saying, look at how many players. There was like 6, 7 players in their half when they had the ball. just so I keep saying refreshing. We should be used to it by now, but so I still have these memories of the dark days where we'd just have the world on our own.
Oh,
byline.
yeah.
Just the world camped in our half. Just come on, then come out and see if we can stop you. Whereas Villa were passing it around the back, and I'm sorry, I'm going back to the Villa game, and there was 6 to 7, maybe 8 players in their half, and I'm like, wow, it's just amazing. I love that, you know what I mean? Because if you do win it back, all of a sudden you've got so many difference makers that are up that end of the field.
To be fair though, you don't have to go back to the dark days to think about that, because you just go back a few weeks, months. We were doing that, but again, you don't want to harp on about it, but it's the difference between of where we were at that time a number of weeks ago, where we weren't training, we're having the multiple games.
Yeah.
That intensity, the pressing wasn't there. Whereas now, with having a week, 2 weeks, previously between games, being able to get them back onto the coaching pitch, you see the difference.
Ironic
in the games.
Ironic thing being that Villa was only 3 days after Fulham. And that's the shortest we've had between games for a few weeks now. That's kind of. I had it as soon as I saw it up. I was on the radio.
And Villa had a longer rest.
Yeah, they had. I missed I caught the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes pretty much the Villa game, and it kind of occurred to us. I wonder if we've kind of not prepared for the Fulham game as in depth as we might have done, because we've gone all in on Villa instead. If I was going like, well, we'll play Fulham, we'll do what we can, then Villa's the one that will really want to get the result in, because they did it at Villa Park what they did at St James's. The defenders on the halfway line pretty much, and we were just able to kind of time and time again we put the ball over the top for Murphy to chase onto for he's in the first half. Gordon latterly, and it works. Scored 8 past Villa this season in the 2 games.
Tactically, that game. Sorry, Chris. I think I'm the one that's forced to go back to Villa here, but tactically that game was absolutely immense somehow, like from start to finish
when
in every single
extra
area.
Defender on,
Unbelievable, fantastic.
When they got the one back and then had that one disallowed straight away, I thought, we're in trouble here. Like, he just did it. Yeah, which we'll come on to maybe how we could have done it differently on Saturday, but no, I just think going back to Longstaff. Sorry, yes. Listen, it's difficult because we're relying on the same 3 men every single game. It's really, really difficult, and one of them is a Bain, bless him, who. At times will maybe not switch on defensively, because you get out muscled defensively, and that's fine. It's going to happen. But you're relying on a 17-year-old to play every single minute, and it's not good. Like it's not a lot of football.
He's played way more football than he should be. Yeah. And credit to him, by the way. He's been a class. I'm not taking anything away from him. It's just we're relying on the same 3 lads every single game, and it's very tough. Like very tough.
It's ironic you pick out him as being muscled out in midfield and not being defensive yet. Our star midfielder was probably at fault for 2 of the goals on Saturday.
Bruno.
Yeah.
Well, again, he's not a number 6, and I don't know how long I've got to sit here and say this, but keep playing him and holding midfield, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have trouble.
It's weird because I was talking about one of the lads at work today, Paul, and I was saying like how it felt like Bruno kind of gets lost a bit when he plays deeper, but then he put the ball in for Trippier to the back post of the volley. He put the same ball again on the outside the boot when Murphy put it over at the very end, and we'll come to all that later on. And like for all he was, I agree. I do think he kind of gets lost a little bit when he's too deep. He's still causing problems. I
thought he had 20 minutes in the second half where he was absolutely world class.
That one for it was Murphy one. He took someone on in front of us on his stand. It was like,
he put one. He took him on at the east stand and then outside of the foot, right across the goal, as you see. That was wonderful.
You know what it is? He should really. I was saying he should have scored. There was one where we broke and Murphy's got the ball and Bruno's on in acres and he didn't. He just didn't see him or what. If he just fancied taking on it, the shot was terrible.
With Gordon as well.
Yeah. And you're talking about that, and then also Bruno could have scored 2 and made 2.
Yeah, he's done that a few times with the outside of the foot, and he's obviously got the ability to do it. That one for Trippier was wonderful. Like it was a beautiful pass.
Good finish as well. That
it really was. It really was. Fantastic finish. It was.
Those all watching live. Yes, I think our signal is dropping quite a bit. Stick with it because it's up and down. It's completely up and down. But we're still here. Is your Wi-Fi on your phone? It's yours?
No, mine's not. I don't think.
Mine is. Yeah,
that's fine. Just drop it off. Just
in
case it helps. I'll just turn mine off as well. It's pretty. The Deggers using all the things.
Deggers watching the match.
Deggers watching the match in 4K.
I thought I had it on 5G.
It's a rookie stream.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
But we are back. I think obviously it goes in 2-2 at half time. So I think we're going to have to touch on the goals that we conceded as well. We'll give Longstaff credit there. But then, if you look at their first goal, it's shambolic defending, and we've seen that quite a lot. Some I don't think it's a free kick to start with. It looked harsh. I haven't seen the free kick back. 'Cause the highlights, for some reason, they just don't show that free kick on the YouTube channel.
I've not seen it back. The referee let a lot go on
did.
Saturday as well. I thought he let the game flow quite well, so it's quite jarring, that one. Because I thought it felt soft at the time.
Yeah, it did look soft, but it's... Somebody should be picking him up, Mark, because he's a big old lad. Like, you can see him coming.
Who you blame for that one?
So you've got to look at Bruno and potentially Longstaff as well, because I think both of them are with him.
Yeah, I thought Miley was. Honest to God, I thought Miley's with him.
It's definitely Bruno and Longstaff.
Really?
And Bruno just kind of jogs back into the middle as the ball comes in, and then Longstaff gets drawn towards the ball. It goes
No, I'm on about the first header that comes back across.
No, I'm talking about the actual goal.
Right, so
Not your first header at the.
so for me is put out the fire before even the guy scores. I think Miley's been left, bless him, with that. Is it Morris? Isn't it? I think it is. He's big lad, like. He just steamrollers over the top of Miley, which is going to happen all night long, by the way. Which then, of course, and I agree that them get drawn towards where the ball's originally going. And I thought
nobody picks up his run
No,
as
they
the
don't.
goal scorer, and that's you know, in that situation, that's exactly where the move that they're going to they can't shoot. They kind of get a header on target from there because it's coming the wrong direction. So it's got to be somebody playing the ball back over, or going to the back stick. So there's only one player that's in that position. Yeah. So it's obvious it's going to come to him. And as I say, Bruno doesn't go with him, and Longstaff, because he's in the middle of the pair of them. I would say it's probably Longstaff's man, but you cannot really tell from the way that they're lined up. But I'm just going on a height point of view and stuff like that. And he gets sucked to the ball and it misses, and then he's got a free header, and and that's awful. You cannot have two players just not going and challenging the man.
No, it's poor.
Second goal is a Bartley's goal, who I thought had a great.
Exactly.
He always does.
He had a
always
great
does.
Yeah,
A few of them, him, Ogbene, who will doubtless come to shortly, and number 11, Adebayo, is it, the centre forward?
Adebayo.
Aye.
I thought he was
Good, wasn't
brilliant. He was
Yeah, he was
Really
really good.
size, isn't he? He's
He's
what
a
a
big boy,
unit
but
he is.
yeah.
They were relentless. They were absolutely relentless in it.
No,
I think that is it. The second goal that was shambolic, though,
Yeah,
wasn't
So
it?
the second goal, it's Longstaff. If I
And
remember
Botman,
right.
I think, isn't it? It's
They just nicked the ball off.
Oh, it's awful.
No, Longstaff goes in for the
tries
challenge.
to do a challenge
And
on
it's
halfway.
unbelievably weak challenge from Longstaff,
It is,
from
aye.
his centre midfielder. We saw the best and the worst of Sean Longstaff in that first half there, like, because he should be putting a hell of a lot more effort into that challenge, and we know he can do it, which is why I was surprised. Why he kind of back out of the challenge. He just tries.
I don't know.
He tries to nick it away, and it's not good
Bartley
enough.
just gets there just ahead of him.
Nah,
yes,
Longstaff's there first.
He can go in on him, but he tours it past him, and then it's from that point for me onwards that it is unforgivable from Fabian Schär.
It's awful.
really poor by
He's
Schär,
he's
Hmm.
tracking
watching,
Barkley, and he's got to get a challenge in or try and get in front, and he just stops.
It's like he
He
sees
just
the
stops
shot.
dead.
He sees the shot going in and kind of goes, "Oh well, that's the end of that." Then,
Yeah.
and I think Dubravka should do better. It's a good save, but he just palms it straight back into the danger zone.
It was
then,
almost
so-
identical to theirs, over Longstaff to get the rebound.
Yeah.
It was the same almost. It felt just back into the danger zone. And Dubravka, it's difficult for him, but I agree. I did think it was quite poor that.
They're trying
But
not to create,
then,
like,
then
but
again, I suppose as a team, we haven't helped them at all.
No,
on that
we
moment.
haven't at all. No.
It was a dreadful goal, and I have to say, I thought Bartley was the best player, arguably, on the pitch.
He had a great game.
I think he's been excellent since he's went to Luton. Every time I've watched Luton every week, but when he's been on Sky or whatever it is, I've watched him and I thought, God, he's been good again there. So technically good on the ball, so calm on the ball.
Playing really deep as well. And it's
Yeah,
kind
very
of
deep.
very deep line. And it's hard to think who should be picking him up because he's playing that deep. Like,
And it's funny, you're right, because he's played.
Carries it, doesn't
He
he?
does play so deep, but then I think he started that move and ended up finishing it. It was tremendous.
He was
really.
excellent.
Yeah,
I said Luton played really well.
They did.
Like the pressure on our first touch every time, really hard to play.
I was really impressed by them, Bestie.
I thought,
Really impressed.
I thought I was really impressed. I think Edwards is manager.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's. If that's what they can do, they'll beat Brighton 4-0 last weekend.
Outside.
Put 4 past us. They'll be fine. Them like
Yeah, this it. Like, people before the game were saying that, we'll steamroller it, we'll beat them 4-5-0 and stuff. I'm like, you haven't watched Luton play football in the last few weeks.
Well, they did because of people not long ago.
Well,
in November, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think that
different down there, but it's a team that they like to hit you on the break. They like to come at you, and they play some nice football. And they've just been sticking to the guns. And as you've just said there, they've surprised a few teams.
Ironically, I thought they were far better on Saturday than they were down their place, and they conceded 4 goals. that I was really impressed with him. And it's watching him last season. I watched a little bit of the playoff semi against Sunderland last season, and they were quite long bally. They're physical now, and they are direct, but they're not like what Watford were back in the day, or what Wimbledon were, or
They've got Mick Harford up front, have they?
No. They were good. They're a good team to watch. Luton, I quite enjoy watching them. That sounds like I'd rather would pump them but I'll be watching them again this season because
They're quite like what, say, Crystal Palace was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Maybe,
that
yeah.
kind of-
That's a bit. Maybe it's not the purest years, but
No,
was that when Alan Pardew went?
the first lot of
for those few months.
the first go Hodgson had there.
No, I'll watch them again. Luton, they're a good side.
So it's 2-2 at half time, and the teams come back out. Well, most of the teams come back out for the second half. Gordon
That was a
off
shock.
injured.
That was a
Wilson.
shock.
It was. Well, I could see
Worry.
him for a good couple of minutes for half time. He wasn't happy. Like
Yeah, he really struggled to get to the sideline at half time when the whistle went. That's
Yeah.
when I noticed. He
Must
was
have been
really
when I went to
struggling.
get a pint.
I must have. Oh, was he once a year? John, was it? Had in their pocket. Notice I didn't get one.
I'm always there.
No, but about for a good few minutes before half time, he didn't look. He looked laboured, and he was just kind of like hobbling around the place. And he could. I thought when he went up, I thought hopefully it'll just be a bit rest, get a bit massage, don't be sound, but obviously not.
Jacka, were you shocked? And I was going to say I'm saying this in hindsight, but I'm not, because that first half from we could clearly see what Luton were trying, very similar to what they tried in the reverse fixture, where the target was to go down our left hand side. Miggy's on the left hand side. Out of his, I'm going to say out of his natural position, but it's not really. Yes, he's been playing on the right hand side for us majority of the time, but he was a left winger when he was in MLS, so he knows what he's doing there. But didn't really learn from the mistakes that were made the last time out against Luton, did we?
No, and I think that'll probably bring you on to obviously who was starting at left back. Like, I mean, you know, I feel as if people might think I'm always having a go at him. I'm trying not to.
Yes.
But you know, you play against Villa there, right? On Tuesday night, sorry, whatever night it was, Wednesday or whatever. And you know, Howe recognises pretty quickly that Bailey's something else. And obviously then brings on.
Just before you get to that point, what did Diaby do all game against Burn?
Absolutely nothing. But I'll go back to what I was saying. When there's a problem, he fixed it. The problem, we all knew within 5 minutes of him coming on the pitch, Burns got a problem, right? So Howe reacts very, very well, as quick as he probably could. A goal came from it, from that side. Then Nelly, they disallowed one, and you knew pretty quickly there's problems. And then Howe thought, right, I'm going to change it. It was absolutely brilliant management. That's not what I've seen in this game. Now, the kid for Luton that I was reading about was apparently the fastest clock player in the Premier League or something. He's the fastest player, something like that. Apparently,
really, really quick. There was one point.
That's what I'd read anyway.
First, no, the second half, where he broke down the right, and it's Miley trying to keep up with him, and Miley looks like he's running water. He can't get anywhere near it, and he's started with a good 5 yards on Miley.
I think that is a problem in midfield we have actually, and that's not their fault. It's just we do struggle. I think we haven't got anyone many legs, have we? Really? They'll run all day for you, but not very quickly. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of how
There was a.
do you know what I mean?
Was it? I think was it the Villa game where there was a moment where a ball got pillaged down their left, and Bruno and Longstaff were chasing down after it, and it was like the slowest race you've ever seen in your life from two players chasing the ball. But they looked like they were going as fast as they possibly could.
Yeah.
Like the arms are going, the legs were going, but they just
I definitely think Bruno was getting
weren't
slower.
getting there.
Like Chariots of Fire on the beach.
It was weird. It's like it's almost like Bruno is slower running without the ball than he is with the ball.
But obviously, the back of the bird thing is that, you know, there's a few. You can see it coming, right? You could see there's a problem here. Now, has he maybe put Miggy over that side to protect? Because Miggy's very quick defensively. Quite possibly. Murphy could also probably do that for you as well. But then obviously that's their goal comes, you know. And
Well, hold on. At half time, they swapped Murphy and Almiron. They went the opposite way, which is what
they did.
I didn't understand that at all. Because in the first half, it had worked really, really well, having Murphy down the right, because he was... And I know, obviously, that it might have had something to do with the fact that Gordon was playing through the middle, because you found a lot of the time the three were kind of swapping with each other and finding themselves into those positions.
I found a lot of times Murphy's best work was coming into the middle, like collecting the ball out on wide, I'd say, but then was coming inside and bursting through. A few little bad passes here and there. I thought the second half he was quite non-existent actually, but the first half I thought he had some good.
I thought he was quite poor.
Yeah, I did. I was very poor. I thought he had some decent-ish moments in the
Wasteful
first.
at times, or wasn't
Yeah,
he?
very wasteful. Very, very wasteful.
But Mickey disappeared second half as well, and I think that for me was one of the key things, was swapping them at half time just didn't.
When he went off, did he? In
Didn't
fairness,
seem to
disappeared
work.
down the tunnel.
Yeah. But I do think with the Burn situation, to go back to him, is I was just surprised that, I don't know, I just felt that was something was coming on that side of the field, because I just felt this kid was just so fast.
It feels it's. I mean, since Burn came back from the broken back thing, he does feel as if he's lost. I mean, he was never rapid, but it feels as if he's kind of lost a bit more pace. He's on the turn. He's a bit slower. I love Dan Burn as well. I love him to kind of. I don't think. I think the left back thing with him now is starting to become a bit of a weakness. To the point where teams try to exploit it last season. And don't forget, last season that back five: Pope, Trippier, Shea, Botman, Burn was the best defence in the league for a long time.
Right, yeah.
So it's not as if overnight he's become a bad player. I think injuries have got to him. I think teams are really getting at him now. The lack of protection from Joe Linton being out, we haven't got a holding midfielder. Nick Pope being out, Dubravka being in. Dubravka's not so much of a sweeper, so they've got to drop that a little bit further backward. We spoke about this last week, I'm pretty sure. There's loads of little contributing factors, but Burn definitely doesn't quite seem to be right. Pace-wise, I don't think he's kind of technically a bad footballer. I've always said he's a good footballer. But it's something that certainly against Luton on Saturday you could see time and time again from early on. They were getting down that side and were getting joy, and it was like, oh no, this
a lot of times
could be trouble, isn't it? So it turned out to be.
And I think why people maybe get more and more annoyed is that you've got Tino on the bench, who everyone's a huge fan of and wants to see every week. We're also invested to a degree in Hall. Now, whether or not he doesn't fancy him or not, that's not the point I'm trying to make. What I'm saying though is clearly he's brought in a left back because he thinks that Burn clearly maybe not good enough long term, right? You wouldn't bring another one in. You've already got Target, or you had Target.
Matt Target, yeah.
You know, so that obviously he's brought these people in.
Liverento's not a left back though.
No.
So he hasn't brought a left back.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not
Hall.
saying that. I never said that. What I'm saying though, I'm saying people are wanting Tino, right? And I appreciate you're saying he's not a left back. You want a Trippier to play that side of the field before and let Tino play. I wouldn't say Trippier as a left back. I know he can play there.
He's played there.
I know he has.
Yeah.
Tino can play there as well. But the point I'm making is that we've also bought another left back in Hall, or loaned or whatever it is, because I'd imagine I was thinking, well, Burn's probably not the greatest.
Let's be honest, so Dan Burn is not left back either.
Could that not be because
Well, he did play there for Brighton, but what I'd also say is, though, I don't think a top 5 team plays Dan Burn left back.
Well, Dan
I said this all day
himself
today.
said that he's not a natural left back.
But
City, Liverpool, Arsenal, not playing left back.
The left back, so you look at kind of, I know Target came in 2 years ago now, on loan initially, and Lewis Hall not be as much to do with the fact that Dan Burn's in his 30s as it is that he's a left back that needs.
Oh, it may well be, but all I'm saying is I feel like there's options on the bench that in moments or certain games, if he's the fastest winger in the world, I'm not so sure I would start Dan Burn. Like, that's just my opinion.
We've signed 2 left backs since we've signed Trippier. I don't think that means that Trippier's not playing well, needs to be replaced immediately. It's just the kind of contingency planning for the future, for a time where maybe when Dan Burn was out, he had a broken back. And 8 weeks out, was it?
It's quite lengthy, yeah.
So I think it is a thing. As much as it is, the point is going to come where Dan Burn needs to be replaced. Well, might be at that point now. A lot of people are convinced that we are at that point.
Which is mental, considering he's been man of the match in 2 of the last 4 games.
He was lucky to get that one against Fulham.
He wasn't the best man.
He was horrendous the first
I
half.
don't
You only
get
got
that.
it because you got that tap in.
That was
That's
my
how he
fault.
got man of the match. You did? That's the only reason he got man of the match here. Like,
Can
it
I
is.
count if he didn't have it?
He was outstanding in the second half.
Well,
He was outstanding in the second half.
I don't think he was outstanding.
Against Villa as well, up until the point where they made
Bailey
the
came on
change.
and absolutely
Up
tortured
until
him.
the point they made the change, he was fantastic.
But then last week-
get Diaby out of the team.
But then last week you said
that
Diaby was shit.
everybody said that. Exactly.
Are you shagging
That's
Burn?
to the point.
But we can't really say that Dan Burn against the game when he was playing against a shit player, according to you. He said Diaby was
But
bad.
that's because everybody in the world was saying that we should have signed.
But if
Diaby
you think he's
because he was
shite,
the answer to a right
but if you
problems.
think he's shite, what's so good about Burn keeping him quiet then? If you think he's shite, what's the big deal?
because everybody else in the
Who cares about everybody else, man?
Thinks
What about
Diaby's
you?
Brilliant and Burn's shite.
You believe Diaby's shite.
I do, yeah.
So how is Burn keeping him quiet so good?
Because apparently I'm the only one that does think he's shite.
Answer the question. No, answer
Well,
the
yeah.
question. You're not answering the question.
Answered it.
You haven't. You're not answering the question.
But I think obviously Villa clicked onto that. Obviously it was later on. Then Bailey came on and Bailey tortured him.
And this is fine. Honestly, like, people have struggling in moments. Like, Trippier has bad moments. That's fine to have a bad moment, by the way. It's not a problem. And that's why I'll go back to the management side of it. Is how got it so well during the week that, okay, we'll tuck him in and bring Tino on. Wonderful. And then all of a sudden he is silent, by the way. They kept him silent. Wonderful, great. And then on Saturday, you just felt early on, or most of the first half, that they are causing a bit of trouble here. Did you feel that? Did you feel that he's got his number a bit on this side of the field? Or did you think it was fine?
Yes, there was times where he maybe had the beating of him and stuff like that, but it came to nothing.
Capitalised it straight out of the second half, though.
Second half different.
Well, to be fair, one's kind of immaterial, though, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, if someone, and I'm speaking as a Dan Burn appreciator, like if someone's skinning Dan Burn and putting the ball in and nothing's coming of it, that's the next.
Well, he wasn't getting. It's not like he was getting constantly skinned the whole game. He wasn't. He wasn't. This is the whole. This is the whole thing of like this whole scapegoating thing with him.
I'm not scapegoating him. I've said that Dan Burn isn't.
You mightn't be, but the world is.
Well, that's why I'm
like the fact that like. He's got the Maxis here. What is the title of tonight's podcast for a start? It's about Dan Burn.
Yeah,
I must admit when we're WhatsApp earlier on,
if you were going to have, but that's the. So you're clickbaiting tonight.
No, it's a talking point.
Well, you are, aren't you? Because of people's reaction to Dan Burn.
What are we getting the most reaction out of on this table right now?
Mark,
because you're winding me up.
But it's because of this topic, because it's a talking point amongst Newcastle fans right now, and I think it needs to be addressed because. Right. Nothing came from it in the first half. It didn't. I agree with you there. But the second half,
most games of the season, nothing comes of it. But apparently, Dan Burn's the worst left back we've ever had.
Mark,
in
the second half, he got rinsed for the penalty decision, which I get. I don't think that's a penalty. It's a free kick all day long.
So one goal out of 4.
When he got taken off,
the next one because he's in the middle of the field and he tries to knock it on.
The next one was he was as culpable as anyone.
He's on the edge of the box, man.
Yeah.
He was, and that was
he wasn't on the edge of the box. He was
almost in their box.
He's kind of playing a number.
But this is what you wanted him to do.
No, but
you were crying out for Dan Burn to get forward. And
I don't want to play as a number 10.
No one said that. We said that he doesn't do very much, but that's all right.
I beg to differ.
I
beg to differ.
We said that he didn't.
Somebody who's been very quiet now used to harp on about it every week that he never got forward.
We said that he didn't do it, and you said, "Oh, he does it all the time," and then he did it one game last season.
Yeah, listen,
and that was your silver bullet. Sorry, Dan.
No, you go.
The fourth goal, he's like kind of in a number 10, number 8 position. Mm-hmm. The ball's going through, I think, to Wilson. He stretches it, knocks it away. Mm-hmm. 10 seconds later, it's in the back of the net.
Yeah,
and
he's still on the deck.
And this is me. I say this again as someone who loves Dan Burn. I do love Dan Burn, but you've got to, when there's responsibility to be given out, you've got to be.
But he's at that point. He's attacking. He's going forward with the ball.
He's not going forward with the ball. He's gone forward and stopped.
He's not there. The ball. He hasn't got the ball.
The ball's come to him and he's knocked it away from Wilson. Then they've scored. And I like Dan, but I've said it time and time again, and I'm reiterating again. I don't think he's a bad footballer. I think it's unfortunate that that he's lost that little bit of pace. Seems to have lost that little bit of pace because it's really becoming an Achilles heel for him down that side. And it's happened. I mean, it did happen. I remember at Old Trafford last season. I think Rashford played the right hand side for a while, and Burn did a really good job. He kept them quiet, and they went time and time again. And Dan Burn, you're not getting past this. And it's more recently, it just feels as if maybe it is. I mentioned earlier the lack of protection from midfield, the fact that we'll play deeper now because Dubravka sits deeper than Pope does, so doesn't do the sweeping bit. Even though he's better with his feet, it must be depth. But it's Dan Burn has become the
scapegoat.
Now what it is, I agree with that. But in this instance, on Saturday,
he can be poor. He can make a mistake, but
he has. I think he has been scapegoated quite unfairly a lot, but not on Saturday. I think on Saturday, and even then, I don't think it was necessarily a terrible performance. I think the lack of pace that he has was really highlighted, and that's what's the conversation's come round. Anfield, all 3 goals, well, 3 of their first 4 goals, scored 4, didn't they? Came from that point on the pitch. My counter argument to that was, well, you've got Mohamed Salah there. He's going to do that a lot of teams. But teams that attack, Jurgen Klopp's out there going, have a good on right hand side today, see how it goes. They're doing that because they think, well, Dan Burn's not very quick.
Well, if I was the opposition manager, he would be the one I'd target. Yeah. 100%. And if you don't, you're absolutely daft.
And I'll say again, I absolutely love Dan Burn. Yeah. I think he's a good footballer. But the limitations that he has have been really highlighted.
I don't like the heat and the actual aggression. And by the way, I'm not. He doesn't think I like him that, but it's not that. I'm not on Twitter going sack Burn. I don't play him. Absolutely not. I'm just highlighting that we have a problem most of the time. I feel down that side of the field when they play a fast winger. And believe it or not, nearly every team has fast wingers. And I just feel, I appreciate he did well against your mate Diaby, and I like Diaby, and I do. I honestly do, and I thought he did very well. And I have to just come back to it again. My honest thought is to move forward as a team or a club or whatever it is. I don't think a top 6 team play him left back. I honestly don't. I don't. So then...
And I honestly think, let's say if Dan Burn was an opposition player, right? Let's say he was playing for Luton at the weekend, right? We stick Anthony Gordon up against him, and he has a time of his life against a player like Dan Burn.
Well, we'll be thinking of going in. We'll be thinking either Miggy or Gordon. Just get him at him. He slows out.
Because has Anthony Gordon not played up against Dan Burn and did now?
Once.
But that's my point, though. It's like always this. This is where you put him up against him. He's going to have him on toast. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. They don't. They don't.
Out of this team, out of that starting 11, is Dan Burn that weak link?
What weak link?
The weak link. Do we have a weak link in that defence?
Well, we have multiple. If you're looking at that game on Saturday in isolation, as I've just said, Fabian Shaw. We've had the same with Trippier. There's been one goal that was conceded on Saturday that you can attribute to him.
2.
I'm not having the fourth. The penalty, which I'm not even convinced there should have been a penalty, but that's
either way.
But he shouldn't have his hand on his shoulder.
Well, it's a foul. It's 100%. 100% a foul.
I agree with you.
And that is down to
the lad's waited. The lad's waiting until he's got in the box to go down.
Yeah.
But you would, like that. It's a foul.
How do VR look at that and see 3 fouls before it gets to the box and then he goes down?
I don't know.
Even though when the linesman and the referee have already flagged and give a free kick.
Well, it used to be the rule that it was where the foul, whatever the action started. But I don't know if that's the case anymore. I would need to look
the lad who's fell's doing what I would want our player to do. As much as I hate that to say that, he's almost
Bruno
kept going. Then thought I'm in the box now. Yeah, it's awful. But again, to what best he's saying is he shouldn't have his arm on him there, man. Like you just shouldn't.
No, that's 100%. So for that, he's at fault.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Then he got hold off.
Just to take the heat off the left back position at the minute. Do you think that it hasn't helped that the fact that Joe Linton hasn't been playing on that side of the field as well, who helps out a lot? Joe Willock hasn't been available. I
think it's massively. It's hugely affected the team in general.
If Maxi was still playing, he would have gotten rinsed for that goal. I think.
How many times? How many times we've seen when Joe Linton's been missing that with Man City at home, Sunderland when Pritchard had those couple of chances again the weekend. We've got Bruno playing too deep, so you're losing a lot of what he does well for the team, does best for the team there. And you've also just got no bite. Longstaff's not a ball winner. Bruno's not a ball winner. Miley's not a ball winner. And there's no protection.
Fourth goal.
Was that the Miley win that? Did he for 4?
He won it.
Miley won it, yeah.
For me, I want to ask one more question. On Burn, I appreciate Botman's there, right? I'm not arguing about Botman, but would you prefer to see Burn as a left-sided centre half or a left back? If the option was there, where do you think his best position is?
So if Botman was knackered on my head,
let's say that. Yes, let's say that. What would you be more comfortable in there?
If Botman's injured, then yeah, you put him into the middle.
Do you think that he's better there, or do you think he's equally as good and he's fine left back, or would you think I'd prefer to see him left centre half, maybe put someone else left back?
Isn't it mad how this is the exact conversation about Paul Dummett about 5 years ago?
Yeah, it is.
Don't get us started.
Lack of pace.
Which is another one who just
don't get us started.
Completely polarizes his opinion, doesn't he? Jesus. He's played more games at left back for us and Brighton than he has as a left centre half.
He's been more or less exclusively left back for us.
Of course, yes, yeah.
Certainly the last 2 seasons.
Sorry, say that again. I apologise. I
say since the start of last season, I think he's only played left back for us. Maybe inside once or twice.
So when
the first season when he arrived, he was centre half.
I thought he was outstanding.
It was Target, him, Shea, or whoever it was, and Trippier, and Trippier going Jordan Kraft.
Yes,
they had a really good end of the season. So he was
unbelievable.
When he was initially signed, that it would appear that Eddie Howe's gone easily centre half.
Yes, he was outstanding.
He was very good.
Loved him. I remember he done one mistake, bless him, against Chelsea. It was Havertz in the last minute. He was absolutely flawless in that away game.
Havertz should have been sent off for the elbow.
Well. Honestly, and that's just my opinion. I think Burn is tremendous at left centre half. I think he's class. I do, and that's because you're not going to get caught out with your pace as often as the wide area. There is a chance you could get shown up out wide if you're not quick. And that's why I keep repeating myself, I apologise, but that's why most fullbacks at the top level club are fast as out because they can recover walkers, your Robinson, whatever. List is endless. And I just feel that I just feel he is not a problem. That's such too strong of a word. That's just too strong of a word. I just think that there is moments in games where I do worry, especially if there's a fast player at him. And I felt like that Luton, not saying he's going to give away a penalty, I just felt something is going to happen on that side of the field.
It's fair to do that. It's fair to do that and to say that he's made a mistake or something like that.
Which everyone
and it's
does.
absolutely fine to do that. What it's not fine is to say he's terrible, he's the worst player, he should never play for again. Or
I agree with that.
The massive overreaction
Yes, I agree with
that I see that I can't. And even and this boiled my piss on Saturday is the fact that when we did make the substitution, when he's going off and the crowd starts chanting
Before he even goes
Tino,
off, mate.
Tino, Tino.
Before he even goes
That
off.
is disgusting.
Yeah. And I think well, I'm going to try and stick up for I'm going to stick up for Mark here. I think this has been pent up from all of that. And then because we then start talking about Burn, you're like, yeah, and it's not. We're not singing Tino. I get what you're saying.
It's
there,
just
I do agree.
The
with you.
whole,
yeah, I agree. With you.
like I say, nobody's pointing the fingers at other mistakes. It's all coming back to Dan Burn, and I'll still stick my point of that he's culpable for one goal, which is that penalty. And I know you argue about the fourth, but it's 1 in 4 goals at the weekend. There's not, and people say that it's every week. It's not. It's not at all.
I think we do get targeted down that side.
We do, but how often does it come off?
You could argue, being devil's advocate here, you could argue that the fact that we get targeted so much down that side.
Because he isn't quick. He isn't quick.
You could argue if Mark speak like this. Mark, wait till I finish talking because I'm agreeing with you. I'm not. You could argue that the fact that we get targeted down that side so much and we don't concede 10 goals every week is testament to the fact that he's actually a good player.
Yeah.
And he deals with it well. Yeah. But there's still, as I say, Klopp, the Premier League managers, Marco Silva, they're not looking at our team going, we'll go down the right, see what happens. They're doing that because they perceive Dan Burn to be a weak link.
Now, if they were both fit, would you personally start Tino left back or Burn?
Well, it has to be Burn because he's your first choice left back.
Right, okay. Tino all day for me, but that's just me.
And
You
you know what is
Dan
though?
Burn
The best
wasn't anyone's first choice left back.
there's a
The first game, the Forest game at home last season, before the team was announced, I think everyone would have picked Matt Target to start left back. So Dan Burn,
Based on past.
and I think Burn wasn't signed as a left back. He was signed because he has that adaptability.
Yeah.
Had that adaptability, maybe you could argue. But I don't think I'm with Decker where I think I'd much rather see I don't know if I'd rather see because Tino isn't brilliant every game either. Tino's made mistakes. Tino's he sometimes get caught out, but he has been excellent for the most part when he's played this season.
Admittedly so.
But
He's not a left back.
No, he's a fullback. He's got the attributes that lend himself better to playing at the sides of the pitch rather than the
He's
middle.
had some great games for left back as well, Tino.
He has. I mean, Trippier played all right there a couple of times. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'd say Tino's got when you're a fullback, you're more likely to be a bit smaller, pace, you can carry the ball better. Tino carries the ball brilliantly.
Really well.
We've got Trippier who passes the more. Tino's the type of guy who's head down, make a run, get around somebody. And that's a modern left back. That's kind of, it's more desirable, shall we say.
And if he does lose the ball up high up the field, he just has the pace to get back. And that's not a dig at Dan Burn. He's just not fast. And you can't change that. It is what it is.
The difference, and Joe Linton didn't come on, obviously, at the weekend. Martin Dubravka was still the goalkeeper. But when Dan Burn went off, that run, that avenue was shut off for them completely. I don't remember him getting any joy at all of Tino. I may be wrong on that, so correct as if I am. And then we got the 2 goals to bring it back to 4-4. So I know correlation doesn't imply causation and stuff like that, but I do think that Tino coming at left back did make a difference.
Howe took him off because he knew we've got a problem there. Like, we've got a problem. But the problem was there within 10 minutes. It was there. It was clear to see that there's going to be something happening on that side of the field now. I'm not saying I knew he was going to give a penalty. I'm not bloody Mystic Meg here. But like, the second that happened, Howe took him off. And I'm going back to the game during the week. There's a problem on that side of the field. We adapt. We change it because it's not working. No, it hasn't. There's a problem. You know what I mean? And
is Mystic Meg dead now?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Another point though,
Didn't see
that we did chat about there. Who's going to be covering up and down that left wing more in the game? Jacob Murphy or Miggy Almiron?
Well, I think they put the both.
I
think you could even chuck Gordon there as well and say that all three of them are probably graft. But yeah.
I honestly think I think either. I think Murphy's he's a grafter. I appreciate Miggy gets the. We all talk about Miggy working hard. I don't know. I do think both. But even
I don't
Miggy
see
played.
Murphy being as.
But Miggy played left wing, as we've mentioned, the first half. But the lad was still burning a new one the first half, and Miggy was left at that point.
And
Left wing, sorry.
Right? Do you know what it is? Because we'll finish it up on Dan Burn there. Because I think what we're seeing now is very similar to what we've seen with so many players this season. And Mark, you've been seeing scapegoat, and what you see on social media is because a player has a bad game, suddenly they become this shit player and he should be sold and stuff like that. I've not really seen much of that, to be honest with you. I've seen the usual things on Twitter, which I don't pay much attention to. But my mates that I speak to football about, nobody's saying that, but they're just saying maybe now is the time where we should try and move away from Dan Burn at left back and have Tino there instead.
They know myself. And
give him a chance.
On Saturday.
You're still trying to catch him, mate. And I think that's just where we're at the moment. That's all I think. That's where we're at.
Yeah, fitting square pegs into round holes.
I don't expect that Dan Burn will be starting.
Dan Burn's not a natural left back.
He's not. He's played there for years.
So why would Howe then bring Tino on to play left back to save his skin midweek if he's not a left back? If he can't play left
He's
back,
faster. That's why.
So if he not a proper left back and not a left back, Howe wouldn't have brought him on to play in that position midweek. Why would he do that? He does that because he can play there.
At what point do you just
Can play there.
At what point?
Just like Anthony Gordon can play up front.
And Dan Burn can play left back.
And as centre back,
Could play left back.
like I think it's. I'm agreeing with Bessie there. Like I think Tino, if you're a fullback, you can play any side really.
It's not like putting Matt Ritchie there when we see that back in the day. It's not that drastic.
I wouldn't have any right back playing left
Matt
back,
Ritchie
vice
did very well at left
versa.
back for a good long
But
time.
it's definitely, it's more. You're going to get more of a fullback ordinarily playing it at fullback than you would at centre half covering. Just Dan Burn is. I mean,
Look, I know he goes in there and he does a good job. I'd happily have him there as a left back because he is good. But
Come and sit over the side.
it's that right.
We'll twist
It's a right-footed player, isn't it? And we saw it with Santon, didn't we?
I'll tell you
You've
what.
got a player, particularly a player who wants to go down the wing, like Luton did at the weekend, who's not going to be coming and cutting inside. You need your left foot to tackle with because you're having to reach over with your right to try and get a challenge.
I would rather,
Or you're running with them and trying to nick it in front of them.
as well as Lascelles did for the most part when he played during the spell where Botman was out. I think Dan Burn would have been a better replacement at centre half if would have had someone else fit at left back.
Yeah.
Target wasn't that lad. Ritchie, I don't think they're going to get 90 minutes out of in the Premier League anymore. Lewis is away elsewhere. Who else? We've got left backs. Lewis Hall, Summit's
Dummett,
away there. Dummett's, I think you got Dummett along with Matt Ritchie and the kind of
I'm walking out this room.
I think-
not talking about getting Dummett on the field.
the occasional.
But that's why Dummett ended up getting moved inside was because he then didn't have the pace to play left wing.
It was only a couple
Well,
of
I
games.
think I've got news for you. Your mate hasn't either.
It happened quite a bit.
Not
didn't it?
many.
So that could ultimately happen, but it's unlikely because you have got Botman there, who
Of
is
course,
your natural left centre half.
No, that's of course that's very fair. You're gonna laugh when I'm going to say because it's about my mate. But I
Already been like a couple of
Yeah,
comments.
when no,
Already been a couple of comments.
I remember a long time ago, right? When I'm sure I did. I sat here and said, that's it. Now it doesn't matter what he does. It's now twisted. It's gone too far. That there's too many people have it out for him now. He could score 10 at the weekend and then not track back once the following week, and that's it. They want him out. It was done. His time was done, right? And other than me, I defended him. I have a horrible feeling for Burn though that we're getting there with that. Where
I tell you, who's pleased about that.
Not me.
Miggy.
No, not me.
Miggy.
So you might get skinned once on Saturday, and it bang. You just back. Now if you don't expect a winger to go past Dan Burn in a game where you're blind, then because at some point in a game of football you will get taken on, right? I'd be surprised if you can keep anyone quiet for a full 90 minutes. But I just feel he could do 10. Actually, was it that game? Was it Villa? So the Villa game. He was challenging. I remember in the first half was winning loads of challenges. But some people might say he's slightly out of position. But I loved it. He was flying in. He won some great tackles early doors. Then gets rinsed for 5 minutes. You're the worst.
And that's it.
No,
yeah.
and this is where I'm agreeing with
And
you
that's
that
where the short memories are.
I just feel that it's tipping over to an area where the lad cannot win now, really,
I
because he'll
feel
get
that,
done
yeah.
once and he's back again. He shit him.
I
Does that make sense?
agree with that. I think
Thought it made sense.
I
Yeah,
think
you're right,
a lot of what he does, he times the tackle well. He is technically good. He's a good passer. I've referred loads of times to his debut against Villa where we're so used to seeing the ball come over and the centre half just going ahead on that. And Burns like, I'll play a ball. Like, I don't need to take a touch. I'll just knock it off to pretty Shelby. I think it was. He's a good footballer. It's just starting to become a thing now where it is. I'm not saying he's becoming a problem. That's not the right thing. I don't think. I'm not convinced he's fit. To be perfectly honest with you, he said himself he came back a few weeks early from his back injury, and has he played every game since then?
Well, when he first came back, there was a lot of goals.
He's gone off a couple of times later on, hasn't he?
We almost considered it felt like the same goal multiple times where he was tucked so far into the centre half, almost. And I thought personally that I don't want to go touch tight here because I'll get done for pace. And we scored anyway. I'm sure it was the Champions League game we conceded. It was almost the identity. He's almost holding hands with Botman. He's that far inside, just allowing their player to come. That's when these murmurs started going, what the hell's Byrne doing? He's out of position. And I think, Milan, yeah. And I'm sure we all went, well, he's just come back here. You've got to give him a bit of a break, right? And I agree with that, by the way. I just feel now that we're tipping over to the side where now, he could be man of the match on Saturday and then next week gets skinned twice. He's the worst player ever. It's getting difficult.
And like you've said, you saw that with Maxi. It was heading that way, and probably still heading that way for Miggy as well.
And Longstaff.
Longstaff as well.
For some reason, it's Byrne, Longstaff, and Miggy from one game to the next.
The Bravka as well when he first came into the team. It was,
Hey, I sat here and I'll happily admit that he's done much better than I thought. Honest to God, I really do mean that as well.
Do you think it's at the point where you're only as good as your last game? For certain players.
It tends to be like all the time, mate. It does with football, it just does. Like you'll have one, and equally, some players can have one good game. He's probably going to reference it, but you have one good game, and everyone's like, he's great, he's really, really good, and you'll have one bad one, and it can be difficult, right? But I have to probably agree here that you've got Miggy, Longstaff, and Byrne that are the. I know if we lose a game of football, right, or we didn't play very well, if I speak to someone, at work or just walking back, it'll be one of them three names that'll come up in conversation, probably. Whereas Bruno could have laid down the whole game and no one will mention his name. That's not digging out Bruno by any stretch. I'm just trying to say, So it's a fair comment. It's a fair comment. I feel like I'm on your side a little bit.
No, I agree. And there was a couple of comments saying in it, it's really weird that since Maxi's gone now, that it used to be Decker trying his all to defend Maxi, and now it's gone to Mark defending Dan Byrne with his all. It's.
I love how he's passionate about it, though. It's all good.
God help if Matt Ritchie was in the team. I would die for that man. Die for him.
Mark loves an out position left back.
But I think.
Why do you think Hall's not getting any time?
Well, me and Bestie agree with this. We just don't think he's good enough. We haven't seen enough of him.
What I've seen of Hall, and I'm far from a scout on these things, I've not been impressed with him particularly. Took a goal well at Old Trafford. He's had a couple of touches and all that, but something doesn't look right. He looks a bit heavy to me.
I thought.
I don't know if that's just this is me saying that.
Yeah, me,
This is me saying that. He just he just doesn't. It doesn't look right. He seems to chase the ball a little bit. I remember when he came on at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and he just seemed to be like following the ball around rather than like the kind of discipline stuff that we've seen. Ironically, Dan Byrne was saying when you've got the ball, you know where everyone's going to be. Hall just didn't seem to have that discipline.
I thought the game that, and unfortunately for him, everyone was dreadful, was Bournemouth away. I think he got taken off at half time, and that was he was bad.
Was it double sub at half time?
I think it might have been, to be fair.
Dortmund did happen as well, didn't it? When he got booked, he was unlucky to get booked.
I really still think there's a player there. Like, but it's tough. It's difficult. Like, I get it's difficult.
The 100% is because you see the reaction from Chelsea fans when he left, and the reaction there. I think, and how we spoke about it is that the fact he's a midfielder and the need to work on his defensive game, and I think that's probably just what's holding them back. They've undoubtedly brought him in because they see a future for him of being able to bring him through, nurture him, get him used to playing in that position. But being able to drop him in and play week in, week out in the Premier League is a massive ask, and that's where's probably that reluctance to do it.
Then I think people will look at his age and say, was he 18, 19? He's young, isn't he?
He's young,
But then people turn around and say, oh, he's only young and stuff like that. But then you look at the likes of Miley, and he's just being thrown in the deep end, ducked the water.
I still think that Sean Longstaff being dead young, he's like 27.
He's on the old, isn't he?
Yeah.
But Miley was playing in midfield regularly for Chelsea, and only recently transitioned.
You mean Hall?
Started to play Hall, sorry, yeah.
And to be fair, that is a good point you made, because I remember the Man United game that we won in the cup. He started on the left of the three, but then Target got injured dead early, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Lewis had to drop into. Sorry, apologise. Hall had to go to left back.
Yeah.
But Hall can play in midfield, a left of a three, and I'll go back to it, and I will eventually get to this topic. With three in midfield, can't control a game to save their life. We cannot control a game. It's end-to-end and it's entertaining and it's fast and furious. We cannot control a game, right? And now that's either experience, it's either the lack of legs, freshness, whatever.
It's
surprising that Hall hasn't been, if that's where you can play, right? hasn't been just delved last 20 minutes, give us some legs.
I think
maybe
he'd be
just
just as bad as that though.
well, maybe.
Because again, you just said there, he likes to pick up the ball and go.
He
go
does.
wandering
I
with it, and
just think sometimes, and I feel like every week I'm criticising this player when I don't mean to. I just think sometimes Miley needs to come off. I thought he was blowing out of his arse, bless him on. And that's fine, by the way, again. But we're relying on him too much to play too many minutes. And we're already struggling in midfield. We've mentioned it so long.
A lot physically, the Premier
It
League.
is. It really is. And I think
a developing body still, like
after an hour, bless him, he's giving it everything he's got. And he's
I
just
still
trudging
thought
around.
He played very well.
No, he did.
He did very
I'm
well,
not saying he didn't.
He
and
did play
against
well.
Villa as well.
He won that ball for Barnes. Equaliser.
Equaliser was, yeah.
And let's focus a little bit on Barnes because how good was it to see him back there?
Oh,
Played really well as well.
There's something I don't know. I love players where they seem to have, even though how fast the game is, when them get the ball, everything seems to be under their Grealish is a bit like that. When he receives the game can be a million miles an hour,
like Neo on the Matrix.
Basically, yeah. And I think Barnes has got a bit of that where no matter how fast the game is, he just seems to control it, and it's in his time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the goal he scored
What
was
a finish.
wonderful.
Finish, wasn't it?
Used it felt like from nothing, and he just
What is
used
that
him as
for
the wall, left foot. It was honestly, it was amazing. And for him to come back in after so long out to do something like that was
He
fantastic.
looked absolutely fine. He looked like straight up the pace with it. You see players come back in, and just mentioned Dan Burn there, he might come back a bit early, but like you can see Isaac when he came back in the autumn,
Struggled a bit, yeah.
It took him a little while. Barnes, and it was only 25 minutes, half an hour, whatever it was. He came straight in. I know about that.
5 months out.
I noticed at half time that him and Wilson were training together on the pitch at home, and I thought, I wonder if that's an early. And sure enough, they both did. But Barnes was one where how he's known for the kind of give and go, where you've got Gordon who kind of run at players, take him on. St. Maximin would do it. Barnes is more he's not going to skin 4 or 5 players. But there's one where you give the ball to Shea on the left hand side, right in front of the east stand. I thought, here we'll go. And sure enough, he's gone. Shea overhit the ball in the end. That wasn't a very good pass, but he's got that, and he just finds a space.
I thought him and Tino were linking up constantly, passing at each other a lot on that side of the field. I thought, but it's really, really good to have him back on. And the goal was just class. The goal was absolutely class. I thought
It was honestly great to see him back. And do you know what is it? We'll talk about not recent result, but the moment going through that bad patch of form. You look at when Barnes returns, like how good of a player he is, and we'll see the same when Willock returns and then Isaac returned. That team fully fit. It's one hell of a team.
I was just thinking that, do you reckon,
one in, one out.
FFP, we had to sell to buy. Do you reckon it's the same with injuries? We've got to have someone.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
Because obviously Gordon went off injured on Saturday. Isaac went off injured at Villa Park. And you've got Barnes and Wilson coming back just at the time.
Yeah.
I think
swap it all
that is definitely a worry. We always keep talking when we get with players back fit, but we kind of seem to get through a game without another injury.
Yeah,
Isak got injured midweek there again. There's a problem between the two of them. Sorry to say it, but everyone talks about Willock, of course. Let's apologise, Wilson being hurt all the time, but Isak's got an issue. Isak is. He's missing a lot of games as well, and I absolutely love him, by the way. I do. I think he's class. I don't want to sell him. I'm just saying that we've just got a bit of an issue there. And it seems to be and as you say, we get Barnes back. Everyone's happy as Larry. Gordon's injured half time.
The good thing is that Gordon, apparently, he's been
Protected boots
pictured
off. Crutches still
in the Metro Centre with that off. So
there's a twisted ankle, and I think it's just sheer precautions in the moment. Put it in the boot. But when you first see the picture on Saturday night, I'm like, you think here we go, but. No,
because he was fantastic that first half.
Brilliant.
He was just, he absolutely rinsed their full back.
Gordon,
didn't he? Gordon.
Yeah. He's a fantastic player, man.
He's brilliant.
Fantastic.
He's far better than. And I remember sitting here this time last year saying, I'm sure with the pre-season under how he'll be. I had no idea he'd be this good. Yeah. I thought he'd be good. I thought he'd be effective. I had no idea how good a player he was.
He's been
excellent.
Yeah.
I think I appreciate he's been amazing. I also think some of that makes him I think he really loves playing for and I think he almost plays like he's a fan, like he supports it. Does that mean he seems to run that extra yard or whatever it might be? And the goal, Longstaff's goal, I also just want Miggy did really well the ball down the line, and that ball was class for Miggy. I thought it was a quick release, and then Gordon is no better than seeing driving at someone like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he can go either way. Of course, we know he likes to come inside.
We did skip the third goal and just quickly to go through because we go nearly now. The ball in by Bruno outside the right boot.
Scandalous.
Lovely ball. The finish from Trips as well.
It's a great finish. On the instep on his
left foot as well.
It's ridiculous.
In mid-air. He's got both feet off the ground when he hits it, I'm sure. It's a really
Did
good finish.
Did Trippier have a hand in all 4 goals?
So you got the assist for the first.
Oh, he wouldn't have for the. Sorry, he got the so 3 of the 4.
Second, wasn't he?
3 of the 4. So the Longstaff second. I thought that because he was involved in a few. But I know that was an
And it goes
amazing
back to
goal.
the
that.
point of when obviously there was the talks of Trippier going and how much would miss him. You just see from that game
Yeah.
what sort of player you lose.
Nah, he's
I
amazing.
think he's top of the assists now from the Premier League, is he?
He can't
This
be
season?
far because he was close to top
I'm sure he is.
before Christmas. So
I
I'm
think he
assuming he's
is,
still
aye.
around there. Like,
He's class. That's why I was sitting here waxing lyrical about not wanting to lose him.
Yeah.
Maybe got too emotional, but I think he's absolutely amazing.
yeah, has been said. Like,
Has been said, yeah. But no, mate. Like
It must be that side of the room, you know.
I just, we're just passionate, aren't we, Mark? It's all
that
right.
it?
I think it's
For opposite
I
things.
think it's
Yeah,
the
I
heater
know.
down here getting we're all
get
getting
it.
all worked up
Yeah.
and sweaty.
No, I love Trippier. Like I really do.
Right, I'm going to go through a few of the questions because there has been a few sent in. The first one's from Josh. I haven't seen Josh for a little while.
Thanks, Josh. I hope
mate.
you're right, mate.
It sends in another donation as well. He says, "Hi lads, hope you're well. Would you be up for doing a food podcast sometime? I've just shared a Chinese munchie box with my family, and it's put me in a great mood after Saturday's draw. Thanks for the content as always. Much love. Thanks, Josh. We've spoken
I
about.
love a Chinese
Over the
munchie
years.
box.
I think like we are a food podcast.
What,
I think.
when you mean by food, do you mean just sit and talk about food, or do we physically have food?
Is it called a mukbang? Is that what it's called?
yeah.
A mukbang.
That's why you just
dodgy,
get
doesn't it?
stuck
But, yeah.
into loads of scran.
We had the transfer window when we got pizzas in that time.
Yeah, but we just ate them off camera, didn't we?
Oh, I did
Oh, yeah, we
notice
did,
though.
yeah, we did actually.
Chelsea game, Chelsea away has been moved to 8 o'clock kick-off on a Monday night,
Oh, is it?
so we could do
It's not a Saturday night.
a live. No, it's been moved to the Monday. A live Always Smiling Faces podcast watch along where we just eat some food.
I'll do that.
So it is horrendous that they've moved that game to the Monday at 8
Again.
o'clock, by the way, after
Right-
the display from
right
War
after
Flags. at the
War
weekend.
Flags.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
It's
Isn't it?
almost like retaliation, isn't
It's
it?
like, fuck you.
It is.
I think Mike Ashley's in charge of the FA now.
I think we've got the power. We're doing what we want. But
I
I'm
don't
up for a food podcast. Like,
Yeah.
It's dreadful.
Always up for food.
Seriously, it's a disgrace, mind. And it's the same that with the Villa away. We've had teams come up here from from hundreds and hundreds of miles away of a night time or a midweek evening. It's not cricket. It's really, really poor. I remember we played Arsenal at Highbury years ago on a Friday night, where there was no train back. I think after half time. Look, at Liverpool away was a Saturday. No,
Everton's always a midweek.
Everton's
Oh,
always a
okay.
midweek night. Aye. Villa away last week. Fulham away in the cup was 6 o'clock kick off. Whatever that was.
7,
weekend before last. Liverpool.
Arsenal is again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Aye. It's there's no consideration. But the problem is people. I say the problem is people buy tickets. I'm not opening that can of worms.
don't. Corby will be bursting through that door.
But if
Do you mean don't go and almost go on strike? Almost. Type
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think that's the only way, because what's this? It's that old thing of like, well, people are buying the tickets, so it can't be a big problem. If people if people went on strike and said, "No, I'm not buying them," okay, like had a season maybe where they didn't do it, and it would have to be more than just us. That's the thing. It would need to be, and it would be such a hard thing to walk the street. We can't even remember the walkouts that we did years ago, where they argued over the time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like so, that kind of thing. The only way to stop was to stop going to away games, and obviously, I'm not. Away games are great, so and people love it.
It's never going to happen. I get what you're saying.
But
I know
like,
what you mean.
like we said last week, Fulham made an effort in the cup game to boycott it because of the ticket prices.
Yes, that's right. They did.
And then
aye.
there's our fans that are down there singing about the empty seats and stuff
Aye.
like that. It's
you can't really. win
That's
that,
fun, but
You've gotta-
well, it happens,
Is it
doesn't
cognitive dissonance? Is that what they call it?
yeah, but it's
we get it, but it's football. It happens.
stupidity.
But definitely, I'll do that on that Monday. Food.
Food on
100%.
that Monday, right?
100%.
We're here anyway. Might as well.
Why? Why not?
We'll back on off
That's what I mean.
our Wi-Fi tonight. Like, it might not be a good idea though. Next question is from.
I would do a food podcast though.
Right.
I'll get a Chinese box. That's how
But Josh
No.
does reviews.
Aye.
He does, yeah. He does.
Does he?
Does reviews of like different establishments.
Does he actually? Yeah. Have you just made that up, or do you know that's for
100%
certain?
true. 100%.
Good chance I follow him in that case, since I follow a few on Instagram.
Next one is from Will Palmer. It is something which we've already touched on, but we might as well do it again. He says, and I'll ask you, Mark, right? We'll get your honest opinion on this one. So
I thought you want to wrap up soon.
is this the point where we have to try Tino at left back from the start? I'll not read the rest of it because it'll get you angry.
Forest on Saturday? No.
Do you start Dan Burn?
Yeah.
Did he start there when we got rinsed the other week against them? It feels like the other week. Boxing Day it was, I think.
At home?
Yeah, but all the goals
was
came
it.
down the left hand.
Oh,
Down
left-hand
their
side.
left, our right.
Be
Did that
surprised. I'll be
remember?
surprised.
Yeah.
Like I'll be surprised
From
because I'm
Chris
sure Wood definitely
Wood
scored
scored
like a
that,
tap in. It was like a tap in. I think it was, and he went down. I was sitting, so it was that like the other side of the box. So it would have been his side. I'm just trying to remember if he was playing or not. But I agree that was a shambles from beginning to end. But The problem you've got, right? There's no. It's not just a right answer. I'm just like, I'll start him and everything will be fine. Win every game, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He could have a May and get sent off or whatever, right? And then everyone's going to the burn fans will be like, you know what I mean?
But that's the thing. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
But it will be, mate.
Burn fans. It shouldn't be Tino fans.
Do you know what? You used to wind him up so easy about Maxi. Now he's managed to flick it back around on you. It's mental.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Brilliant.
Absolutely mental.
What a moment.
Just like a switch.
No. For me, right? For me, I'll go back. Bessie made a very good point that probably every team moving forward are going to think, right, how can we isolate or how can we target that area?
Yeah.
And for me, for a bit, for now, let's try and put out that fire. That's it. That's what I would do.
Anything, Bessie?
I don't know. I was thinking then, I became really conscious that like some people are going to be listening to this tomorrow or something, and like just listening to dead air, me breathing heavily down the microphone. Which incidentally,
That's quite
no.
creepy. That's quite creepy.
Isn't that what you
so I think
do
it's-
on your radio show?
it is. It's just frozen in
That's
fear.
what he does when he starts calling contact centres. Doesn't he?
Is it time to start Tino at left back? I don't think it's far from that point. I'd rather have a left back playing at left back, but we don't have any fit left backs still, Mark. So
I would do, but he doesn't play one of them.
Lewis Hall, I suppose.
The midfielder, isn't he?
It depends. I think
We've just been through
it
that.
depends on who
Technically.
it depends on who you're up against. If you're up against someone who's got a really quick winger, Luton being a case in point because that was the weekend, then I think you try and stop that from being a problem. So maybe you do put someone a bit pacier, a fullback on there. If it's someone who doesn't possess a great deal of pace on that flank, I must admit I don't know a massive amount about Forest's team, so I can't comment on that. I would, if that was the case, I'd stick with Burns. I think he's solid for the most part. But if you've got Gibbs White, is he a winger? Or does he play more centrally?
Gibbs White's more central and left side as well.
Oh, it's for fair play then. So yeah, without knowing a massive amount about Forest, if it was Shelby on the right wing, I know he's not there anymore, I'd be quite happy with that.
Best I put you there. You'd probably outrun him. You'd probably outrun him. But I do think it's a game. It's tactical, right? If you've got the fastest guy in the world, this guy for Luton's clocked at the fastest there is.
Yeah, you've got to.
You
can't just play your own game. You've got to stop the team from hurting you as best they can as well. And we've got the tools that we could do. So
it's not as if Tino's not there or there's not an option, and Burn is the only one we have.
Yeah,
there is options there.
But it's not just about like. Yes, everybody picks up on the pace because he's not the fastest. But you've then got to change a whole host of other things that we do on that pitch. We're going to have to change all of our corners from an attacking and a defending point of view because he's in there from that height and size side of things to stop
the first goal we conceded.
He wasn't anywhere near that one.
It's not the field.
By the by.
We conceded 4 when he was on, I think, and then.
It was.
Do you know what I mean? Like
we haven't conceded that many.
We scored 2 when he went off.
From
So
corners and set
I wouldn't.
pieces. So,
I don't see us utilise Dan Burn in attacking form from set pieces as much as what people think.
Yeah, we should do more. I've always said that.
Got
but the last few
Fulham
games
was
we've
not a
targeted
huge-
Botman more, to be fair, in the
Yeah,
last few
yeah,
games.
that's true, why.
But even so, by having Dan Burn there, he occupies a defender that then creates space for you.
That's a
your
fair point,
Botman and your
actually.
share.
I remember, and I know this is kind of, it was very reductive at the time, but when we had Andy Carroll back, and Bruce would bring him on just because,
Great for defending.
and even just because he was Andy Carroll. Not that he was going to run through the channels and cause bother. It was like defenders were going, shit, Andy Carroll.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little
got a
bit
tough
of that
10
with Dan
minutes,
Burn.
yeah.
He's 6'7", he's massive, and he is capable. He is capable. I think you do, even though, I mean, the goal he scored at Fulham, it was Botman's header that was saved, wasn't it, to start with?
Yep.
So, but he's
Obviously, share scores too from a corner.
I mean, we don't score. It's weird. My Smithy has sat next to it at the game. He at times he sits down at corners because he thinks it's a waste of time. But then we had that spell. Fulham, we got a couple from the corners. And there was another one I think recently. So it's not a total
We've
right
been
off.
trying new
But
things with corners and set pieces as well. You can see it each game.
that's always been Tyndall's thing, hasn't it? He's a bit of a kind of set piece maverick. But he does give you more a little bit going forward in the box. He scored 6-4 this season, the big one. Or is it 6?
Oh, he's
Who?
more 4, and
He's a big lad. Dan Burn.
PSG.
BDB.
Fulham.
He's got more 4, I think.
Yeah, I've got to hear it's a few more. I was just listening to the thing last week where they were talking about it. It's 4 or 6, I'm sure. It's an even number, which is nice. But as I say, if Forest are going at you with a fast right winger, yeah, probably better off with Tino there because he can handle it better. As I say, against Luton, when Tino came on, I don't recall that side of the pitch being targeted as much because they're thinking we're not
But
going
to
to
the
get the
point
joy.
that you made there, we also brought Barnes on up front, who was then occupying them further up the pitch
It's true.
more than Murphy had been in the second half.
Yeah,
He scored 4. He scored against Sheffield United in the 8-0.
Yeah.
Paris Saint-Germain, the Fulham game, 3-0, and he scored Fulham again in the cup. Scored Fulham twice.
2 at
Oh,
Fulham,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah,
'cause
2 at
he
Fulham.
played
That's
for them,
4
didn't
total.
he? Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that you just want to add before we end this one tonight?
It's a funny one, isn't it, football, where you think, you imagine you go before the Villa game, we sat here Monday and you're like, take 4 points off your next 2 games, and we'll be like, sign us up. And you get the 4 points, and how it can be so not deflating is maybe too strong a word, but you're like, because it's coming a different way, hasn't it? You know, we've drew in the game that you would expect to win.
The reason I'm not angry about the result at the weekend, because I thought Luton were fantastic, and that's probably why I'm not as upset as what I thought I would have been, because I was impressed by them.
I just feel we shouldn't be giving them goals. Like, we shouldn't be giving it up when we've led twice in that game.
We shouldn't be conceding 4 at home.
It's
That's-
not
yeah,
on.
it's
It's not
poor,
on.
yeah.
It's very, very poor. And I think the goals, and I suppose
Good as they were.
them could also say the same about our goals, but the goals were dreadful. Like, they were dreadful. And when you're 2-1 up, or 1-0 up, I suppose anything can happen. It happened. But when you go, you get the lead again. That's when you've got to really control the game and manage it. And I just felt like it was the last 5 minutes of the game, all game.
I thought that
It was
second
just
half,
mental. I was like, what what's going on here?
Back to the Keegan
Their,
days.
Which is a good
their
thing, anyway.
fourth goal was almost identical to Milan's second in December as well. The way it came about, the way they kind of the goal. It was like, and that was 60 odd minutes. 50 odd
Because it was funny, we scored the 4th goal to go 4-4, and there was still 20 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And what I found interesting, I didn't feel like the crowd believed. I don't know. It didn't seem. It felt weird, I thought, personally, but I actually felt Luton had the best chance. If we're being very, very honest, that one at the death.
Oh,
If that
shit,
lad
Dubravka,
gets it,
didn't he?
if he gets a better contact on that, he
Then
insteps
again,
it rather than.
Murphy came close as well.
Yeah, he should do better with that. The
Probably
ball
should do
puts across the
better.
box.
Yeah, probably should do.
It's a
better,
great
yeah.
ball in by Bruno.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Murphy, and I like that. I like Danny Murphy. I don't like him at all. I like Jacob Murphy, but you look at the goal, the 3rd goal against Villa, where he's got a tap in and he squares it.
He's
And the defender takes it in,
Yeah.
almost like Bellamy at Feyenoord, but like
Yeah.
accidentally.
Yeah.
He's never been the most. For all he scored that screamer against Tottenham last season, he's not a natural finisher as our Jacob, is he?
No,
He should have been given that goal, though.
no target.
Against Villa.
Off target?
Wasn't going
I
in.
think it's
No,
gone.
it's not. It's
It's gone in the far
if
post.
anything, it's going away from goal.
Going away from.
He swallows water in that drink.
It's definitely gone in the
That's
far
sure.
post.
We're talking about Jacob Murphy, no, not Dan Burn.
Remember when he used to hate him? Absolutely hated him, didn't he?
And I had good reason because he was crap.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
He was terrible.
Remember that time he got subbed on? He kicked the ball out of play as soon as he came
As soon as
on.
he came on, honestly, I used to. Oh god! But no, listen. Again, I thought he did. I thought he was poor on Saturday, unfortunately. But I thought at Villa he was very good. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the thing, isn't it? With certain players, it's just consistency. It's tough. It's really tough to be consistent all the time. And you see that. You see that even from likes of Bruno, that people will go, he went missing the day, and I'm like, Jesus, the amount of times he drags you through a game. You know what I mean? It's really difficult. But
And I think when Bruno goes missing out of games, there's always 1 or 2 where he puts you through. Like he always delivers
Yeah.
something.
yeah,
He might have been shite the rest of the game, but he delivers something.
he did on Saturday again, didn't he?
Twice, the Murphy won the Trippier goal. Yeah,
He does.
He's
Yeah,
got it in him.
I love him absolutely. He's amazing. Like.
He is nice class.
Thanks everybody who has joined us live tonight. There's been over 200 of views right the way through. Just like the video, become a subscriber if you want to do that. If you want to give an extra bit back, it is just $2.99 a month to become a member. You get extra content. You get access to the Telegram group as well. The Telegram group is probably the reason me and Mark had a hangover on Sunday, because there was 10 plus people from the Telegram group
Members meet up.
after the match. So thanks for that, everybody.
good fun.
If you're listening to the audio as well, just give us a 5-star rating. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time. Mark's off to start a Dan Burn
He's got a
fan
Blythe,
club. He's moving to Blythe.
Going to write this week's newsletter.
See you later. Ta-ra.